on somebody. Financial problems. Oh, finance problems is one of the biggest problems that face us, you, people we know. It's one of the biggest stress factors. It's the thing that wrecks marriages or what might keep you from getting married. It's a big problem. We're going to unpack that in the primary food category on today's show. So let me begin. We're going to go fast because the first 30 minutes moves like a freight train. Don't forget, though, if you miss anything on this program live on this 30-minute time with me, stay tuned. We go to an after show. What's that, Damon? That means that I stay live with you after this program on TV, 98 million homes. We go live online. So you got a question? We got an answer. Stay tuned to the after show because I want you to ask your question. And if we have to go for 45 minutes past the show to get to your questions, we're going to do that. All right. So I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you were able to take the family on a vacation? All right. Or let's make something simpler, maybe. Treat yourself to a nice suit or a dress or dinner and a movie, right? Or maybe you've been thinking about renovating, right? Your kitchen or the bathroom. What about those little things you wish you could do to take the family out? Spend time with them, go to the beach, go to a ball game. All this stuff, well, most of it, takes money. Now listen, it's nearly impossible when you're living paycheck to paycheck. Just over broke, as, by the way, job, just over broke. Do you know that most of the country, in fact, 3/4 of the U.S. population lives that kind of life right now? In fact, the odds are stacked against you. Somebody said, that's right. I know it is. How can you even think about doing any of that stuff I just talked about? And you're stuck, trapped with financial problems. You're making ends meet, barely. You're scraping to get by. And oh, if I just had a little extra, what I would do. The life I'd have, the life I'd live. And again, nothing causes greater stress or strife or depression or bewilderment. Almost nothing. And financial problems. And when most people, maybe you, are $200 a month away from financial ruin, in other words, if you were to miss $200, stuff would happen, then you need today's program. I'm with a very special guest, Dr. Robert Watkins. He is my friend. He's going to become your friend. I used to have him on my program one-on-one. Many of you remember that show. And every single time he was here, and I brought this economic expert doing in the category of money in front of you, people's lives changed. And yours will change today. Dr. Watkins, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you for having me. Boy, it's so good to see you.
I was telling you before the show started, man, you age in reverse. Last time you were here was like 7 years ago or something. And
well, the family studio, good lighting, great makeup does that, man.
That's right.
Living the Zoe life.
That's right.
That's right.
We're going to talk about money.
Yeah.
And they prepared some great questions for me. And I'm going to hit many of them if I can. But I want to go right to it. I want to get to the getting. I want to open the show up by saying, is there good days on the horizon? Are we approaching what might be, it's not a lack of faith, folks. Just hear me. I'm just data, statistics, paying attention to what's going on in the world. Are we facing not necessarily great days, but is it possible we're facing one of the most difficult financial situations that this country and perhaps we have faced ever since we've been walking planet Earth, us alive?
To answer your question, yes. Let me explain why. If you listen to any economist that's worth their salt, we all know that the economy is based on every 7 years. There's 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. We experienced that, for example, from 2007 to 2014. What? That was the housing crisis. That was 7 years. 2015 to 2021, the next 7 years is the years of plenty. So have a years of famine, what I call famine, a mild or recession, followed by years of plenty. Right now, there's plenty of debt. plenty of, if you wanted a credit card, you can go get it. If you want to go buy a house, you can do it. If you want to buy a car, there's plenty of jobs. If you want a job, everything is plentiful. There's plentiful food. We're in the years of plenty. It's getting ready to shift. I believe we're in that 6th year of the year of plenty. What I call the year of plenty. Now we're getting ready to shift into the year of famine. Famine is shortage. We experienced a little bit of that during the pandemic, but every 7 years is the time that we need to understand those seasons. So what do you do during the years of plenty? You don't go out and buy new cars and houses, because what's getting ready to happen, everything is about to be on sale.
Yeah.
So you should save during the years of plenty. And then when the years of famine come, which I believe is going to be sometime early next year, guess what? You're not going to lose your house or car or your family or your finances, because you did what was right with the money you had during the years of plenty.
Yeah.
Now you're prepared for the year of shortage and famine.
Yeah.
So we are on the verge, I believe, of economic collapse. We've heard what is happening in Russia and China, how our two biggest competitors are now partners.
Yeah.
And the first thing they did was devalue our dollar. Essentially, our dollar is not going to mean too much in a very short order. That is the economic war that they just declared on the United States. So what does that mean for us, for everybody that's watching right now? Is that your dollar is not going to go very far. You think inflation is high now. When we get into this year of famine, it will almost be worthless outside of the United States.
We've experienced that, all of us, in the last couple of years, where we've seen the dollar not be as worth as much as it used to be. Let's bring it down to planet Earth for a second. You go to the store and you're buying some eggs, gas. I mean, stuff's just out of control in terms of how expensive things have become. What you're saying is that on top of that issue of inflation, right, not only are things higher than they should be, supply chain issues, everything else going on, but the dollar will be worth less. Yeah. In simple terms, that means you got $1,000 in the bank. That $1,000 that we know to be $1,000 today will be really like the equivalent of having like $200 in the bank.
Yeah.
In terms of its spending power, because not what's just happening in the United States, what's happening globally, right?
This is a global issue.
It is a global issue.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to live in negativity today, okay? We're 9 minutes into the show. They brought me my iPad. Why? Because we're live. It means that if you got a question, please, I want you to ask it. And if you ask it right now, it's going to pop up. We might interrupt the script to answer your question, because it might be right on time. But what I want to ask that is right on time is, we're not going to be negative today. We're going to uncover what are some steps we can take to get ready. Mm-hmm. What are some steps we can take to be prepared? What are some steps we can take for you to do what you need to do, not only to survive, but I would submit thrive in the most difficult economic crises that perhaps we've seen in our lifetime, our parents saw, maybe our grandparents. And you got 5 key points. Let's see how far we can get. Let's hit one.
Well, if you got $500, here's the good news in this economy. While interest rates and everything is high, what is also high are CD rates. You can put $500 into an annuity and leave it there. If you're getting 3% per week on average return on investment, and I know there's some annuities that are out there, if you keep it in there for 5 years, you're putting all the money back into there, all your returns for 5 years, that is literally $1,088,000 in 5 years. That's number one. Number two, we should have, every family should develop 7 streams of income. Where did I get that from? I got it from scripture. That is not something that's nice to have. That is mandated. And so how do you do that? Well, what do you like to do? You can write a book. You can speak, you can go online. You can do a lot of different things. If they go to my website, we can show them how to do that. But that should be a top of mind. Also, there are 6 billion people online right now looking to buy something. And so we need to create something of value. Farmers used to, they create, food to sell. You need to have that farmer mentality. What can me and my family do to be involved in this information age? So that's 3. And you want me to keep going?
I want you to keep going, and then I'm going to drill down on 1 or 2 of the points.
All right. So let me just tell you, because this is live. So the next thing is to attend a tax sale. What most people don't know right now, every day somewhere in America, in your county, in your city, there are real estate houses that are on the tax, on the courthouse. And so you can just pay the taxes and own that house. Sometimes it's only, $5,000, $4,000. You walk away with a $150,000 house. That increases wealth. And then the last thing I would do, because we're in the information age, is going back online, because everybody's on Facebook or Instagram, build a platform of 20,000 followers and give them something that they need. If you do that and you get $1 per person, that's $20,000, and you certainly can do that.
Well, those are 5 ideas about how we can make money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a break. And Robert, when I come back, I want to drop down to ground zero for a moment. Okay. What do I mean by that? They say if you do anything for 10,000 hours or more, you're an expert. You have spent more than 10,000 hours helping people get out of their financial mess. And I know you charge a lot of money to consult with people to help them get out of their mess. We'll keep hitting the money-making ideas in the after show, because just one idea could change your life forever.
Yeah.
But when we come back, I want to take the next 13 or so minutes and help you get out of your financial mess.
Yeah.
There are principles and strategies to managing money, budgeting the money you got, that maybe you were never taught and don't understand. We're going to hit that right after this break. Do not go away. You don't want to miss a minute of this program.
Hello, my name is Harold, and this is my lovely wife, Eunice, and we're the Catlins. We wanted to do things when it came to living better. I'm a driver in my profession, and my wife works in IT. We have 4 grandkids. We have 3 grown daughters.
I learned about the program through our church, and then we signed up. I lost 18 pounds, really felt a lot of energy, was starting to sleep a lot better. I really noticed not having a lot of inflammation. Prior to starting the program, I was on blood pressure medicine. My blood pressure has dropped significantly.
For me, I was very, very encouraged that I was able to watch these pounds fall off, and I slept so good. I started the program at 219 pounds. I'm down right now at just under 195. Doing yard work in the yard and stuff like that, I don't hurt when I'm bending down because I've lost so much fat. Zoe Wellness is the best thing I could ever did to lose weight and feel better.
We're really spiritual individuals. We're really into church, and we try to align ourselves with the Bible and Christian living. But we also realize there's some things that we need to do in the natural to live better and to enjoy life, have more energy. And Zoe Wellness has totally brought that to us.
Zoe's team of weight loss experts is proud to offer Zoe 60, an easy-to-follow, complete lifestyle program. Not only will the program help you lose weight and keep it off, but it's designed specifically to help you balance your spirit, soul, and body. And you can lose up to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days and vastly improve your overall health. Call right now using code ZOEFREE, and your initial consultation, normally valued at $100, will be absolutely free. Call now.
Hey, Damon Davis here. Welcome back to the program. I'm here with Dr. Robert Watkins. Dr. Watkins, welcome back. Welcome back.
Man, it's so awesome to be here with you.
Yeah, it's good to see you and good to have you. And I know that the people that are watching are going to really enjoy the second part of the program. We rushed right into it.
Yeah.
And I didn't give you the opportunity to have a proper introduction. And I know you. They need to know you. So would you please just give them an understanding of why I keep calling you an expert. Obviously, you're an author. You're a speaker. You have an organization, Conquer Worldwide, that helps consult with businesses and individuals across the globe, by the way.
Yeah.
Not just to manage money, but how to make money and how to get out of money stuff, problems. But what else? Fill in some other gaps with some things you would want them to know.
Well, one of the things that we are most proud about, I own a finance company as well. So we probably do $14-15 million a year for startups, for people who just have a vision and they're just stuck. And the banks have said no, and all the banks have said you're no good. We come and we say we're going to advise you and we fund you. Most people don't need $1 million. They just need maybe $50,000 or $100,000 or $150,000. So that's kind of our sweet spot. And we create about 200 brand new real estate owners and investors every year. And we've invested in everything from bed and breakfast to tech companies, bio companies, healthcare companies. And so we've been doing very well there. And we've, as a company over the last 15 years, have created around 5,000 full-time entrepreneurs.
Wow.
Of people who were broke and just had this dream and could not get it off until they met us.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been good.
Congratulations, number one,
Yeah.
on your success, but more importantly, if I may, congratulations on helping others succeed. That's what we're all about.
Yeah. That's the Zoe life.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You know, a lot of people that are watching may not be in a financial strain. They might be doing okay. You might be looking for a strategy on how to expand, you know, the domain. You know, we're blessed to be a blessing, right? I don't know about you, but if I have more, I want to give more. If I have abundance, I want to help people. It's the humanitarian side of us. Some of us should be so grateful for what we have, and we should pay that forward and pay it backward and sideways. And then some of us are struggling, you know. So I want to hit some ideas in the after show, if we can, for those of you that are looking to expand. But I want to use the next 10 or so minutes for us to get right to answering the question. And you blew my mind. At the break, you said, people shouldn't be broke. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what? You are so confident. Mm-hmm. That means that you know that whoever's watching can get out of their mess.
Yeah.
Give me some points that we can apply today. And I'll start with, do people really know how to manage a budget? And if not, what are the things we need to be doing to look at our budget and manage that budget properly?
Well, broke can be fixed, but poor is a state of mind. So first of all, we have to understand that none of this stuff I own, right? I'm a steward. I'm a manager of this stuff. So how can I be a better manager? Which, first of all, you've got to educate yourself. You got to learn about money. You can't be afraid of it. It can't be something that you use to buy stuff. You have to look at it as an investor. The highest level of any person with money should be that, not of a business owner, but an investor. How can I take this $5 I have and turn it into $10, into $15, into $100? So my mindset has to be, I am an investor of this money. So when I get this paycheck, before I go out and start spending stuff and having a good time and buying drinks and going to the club and partying and doing whatever you do to have a good time, let me pause and figure out, how can I grow this? So that has to be in your mindset. And then secondly, I want to know.
I'm sorry, yeah. Is that I should look at investing at that moment, storing a little bit away at that moment? So I like what you said. I get paid, and before I go out and start spending, we have bills we got to pay. But if I got any free money left, right, unencumbered, I should do something with it. What are some of the things I should do? Well,
I would say the best investment to make is in yourself, is in your family. What is it that you desire to do? Let's start there, right? And you say, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Then invest into a savings account, right? If nothing else, you should be putting $5 into some sort of mutual fund, in some sort of, you don't need $100 or $1,000 to open a mutual fund. You can open a mutual fund with $25.
It's true.
You can call Merrill Lynch or anyone. And like I said earlier, the CD rates right now are high. Yeah. The highest they've been in 15 years. So putting $10 in there every month is going to be worth more at the end of the year.
That's true. You know, there are apps on phones that allow you to invest. Many people don't know you can have a piece of your check before that direct deposit hits to be allocated, to be held back.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's in the account, many people will spend it. Out of sight, out of mind. And we say, hey, I can only invest if I got a lot of money. No, you're right.
Right. Listen, I don't need to see all of my money. I don't need to have access to all of my money. It's actually good that my money is going someplace else to grow. Good. Because if it comes to me, I'm going to spend it. Me and my wife, we're gonna find a reason to spend it, right?
We all do.
We all do. Well, she's gonna find a reason to spend it, right? But the point is, it's not gonna be invested and grow.
Yeah.
So I'm happy today because of what I was doing 4 years ago.
Love it.
Right. So I have to have a long-term mindset. I have to have an educated mindset about money, then a long-term mindset, which means now this $5, this $10 that I have, I need to find a vehicle for it to work for me. Money makes a terrible boss, but it makes a great employee.
Oh, I love that.
So we got to make sure that this money goes to work, right? So if that doesn't go to work, that means I got to go to work.
Yeah.
And I have a very limited time on this earth. So then thirdly, I would say saving. So right now you're saving, not for the sake of savings. I'm saving to be an investor.
Yeah.
So if there's a house that you want to invest in, or a business you want to invest in, or maybe you go to Robinhood.com, or maybe cryptocurrency. But I'm saving with the goal of maybe trying to save $300 so I can invest this $300 into something like cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And while I'm saving, I'm learning about it. So now a more financially educated person is going to be a more financially healthy person.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are not financially healthy today because they're not financially educated.
Yeah.
So you got to read my book, I Never Chase a Paycheck Again, and many other books about money, and then sit down and stay off of social media, find good books, read them, digest it, and then apply it.
Good. Do you think that investing is a form of saving?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the annuities that I have, it's absolutely saving. And so I have I got a daughter that goes to Georgia Tech. My annuities pay for her. No, she don't care where the money comes from.
Right.
But my annuities pay that. Things that I did 5 years ago is now paying for something that's very valuable.
And it's not too late, right?
It's never too late.
You know, some people say, "Oh, I missed it." Some people say, "I'm too old," right, to save, or we say we're waiting till that perfect time, till I've got a little extra.
Yeah.
See,
some people save for a car. I'm talking about saving to improve your life.
Yeah.
The people have a saving mentality. The first financial advice I got from my father was save all you can. Well, for what? But now I know why. I'm saving all I can so that I can invest so my money can work for me.
Got it.
And so when I say invest, I don't want people to be afraid of that word invest.
Sitting in the bank, in other words, is not a good place for your cash.
No, it's not.
Put your cash to work for you.
Right.
Do you have an opinion about gold, silver, investment in precious metals? We talked about the dollar dropping like a hot potato, perhaps losing its value. What do you think about those types of investments?
I'm going to tell you what doesn't lose its value. I will tell you what always will appreciate. And the closest you get to the raw material, the better. And that is anything that God has made, it's going to appreciate. Real estate, gold, silver, food, commodities, anything God's made is appreciating during tough times.
Fascinating.
And so the closest to the raw material that you can invest in, the more valuable it's going to become. That's why real estate is always appreciating. That's why gold is always appreciating. It's getting ready to skyrocket. So you need to be online instead of searching, where can I get a hamburger tonight? I need to search, where can I invest in gold?
Wow.
In silver?
Wow.
Food, any people, anything that God has made is going to absolutely increase in value.
Wow.
That should be our focus.
Yeah. Before I forget, and again, State of the After Show, we have a QR code. If you don't know what that is, many of you do. It's this little box looking thing with this bunch of black spots on it. All right. It's on the screen. All right. You put your phone up to it, and that will take you to a downloadable copy of Dr. Watkins' 5-step plan to survive and thrive in a recession. Do you think a recession is coming? Do you think we're in a recession? We got 1 minute. What do you think?
We're certainly in a mild recession, and it's going to get more severe as the year goes on. I would say by December, everything in America will be on sale. Homes will
this coming December
of 2023.
Wow.
Homes will begin to devalue. And then now we're going to be what we were before, upside down in our most precious things like a home and our cars. Right now is the most terrible time to buy a car because the expense of it, the inflation of it,
Everything's up.
everything's up.
Everything's coming down.
Everything is up right now,
Yeah.
and it's going to drop.
Got it.
Now, the people who will not build wealth during this time, now we got to remember now, millions of people will become uber wealthy because they saved during this time. And now when that $400,000 house is now worth $150,000 at the end of the year,
Yeah.
guess who's going to buy that $150,000 house?
Well,
Me and you.
yeah, true.
And then it's going to go back up in
Yeah.
another 4 or 5 years. Then what we're going to do? We're going to sell it, and we're going to put that $350,000 in our bank account.
Well,
That's how you build wealth.
listen, our sponsor is going to get kind of not happy about me doing what I'm about to do, but I'm not going to a break. All right. I'm gonna take the last remaining time we have, and I'm gonna have to apologize to our sponsor later to hit one more question. How much time do we have till we're out of the show? 30 seconds. Okay. We got 30 seconds and the show's wrapped. Question for you. If you believe that the worst is coming, is that not having faith, or is that being aware that, like, we got to start planning for the possible whatever's coming?
Man, I am full of faith, but I know what's coming. And my faith is going to cause me and everybody who's watching to overcome.
Well,
I guarantee you.
stay at the after show. Stay with us. We're going to unpack 5 ways you can grow your money and make wealth. Don't go away. Thank you so much. Hey, Damon Davis, welcome back. I'm watching this screen. It tells me how many people are on. So if you have a question, I want you to ask, and we're going to see if this thing grows. We really want to be effective here, okay? So, and I want to hear from you. If there's 2 people watching, I don't care. But if you're watching, you got to have a question about money. And I got an expert sitting in front of me, all right? So I want you to ask whatever question you have. Don't worry about, I'm not going to announce your name, okay? I'm not going to put you on the spot. And I like to tell my staff in the company and I tell my kids, there's no such thing as a bad question, okay? So be bold and courageous. Ask the question. How do I budget, Robert? That's not a bad question. So many people don't know how. Should I buy quality versus quantity? Questions I ask, you know. He was touching on it before we went to the break and to the after show, which was, how do I make more? And our motive is not to get rich, to necessarily have a bigger house, bigger car, and squander. It's truly, many of us just want to be secure. You know, we want more so that we don't have to worry. That's not a lack of faith. You know, it's smart to pay attention to what's in the bank account. It's smart to think forward about what's the future look like. It's smart to save for rainy days. It's smart and to be aware. I like to say we have fear sometimes, but fear doesn't have us. Okay? And money can cause serious fear. I mean, I know those nights when something was going on in my world and I was really worried because the bank account was empty or close to empty. And man, the terror that will hit you. Come on, worry that will hit you. It grips you. And man, talk about fighting. Nothing will make you fight faster with your significant other than money problems. So our goal is to bring peace to the situation by bringing clarity to the problem, by giving you understanding of how to see money and manage money. That's what it's all about. And just know that wherever you are right now ain't it. And we don't judge our future by our past. And don't live in regret decisions you made and say, oh, I blew it. Who cares? It's the past. You can't see the future when you're looking in the rearview mirror. Did you get that? By the way, I want people to give me advice who've been there. The stuff that's coming out of my mouth is not just the anointing or I'm quick on my feet. It's I have lived this. And if you've lived it and got through it and you really care about helping people, you want to pay back. Don't leave people behind. I was with Dikembe Mutombo in the Congo, and he has it's Congolese proverb, and it's, if a man takes the elevator to the top, don't forget to send it back down. Did you get that? So we got the expert in finance, and here they come. I knew you were there. Let's answer these questions. Top, how do I create multiple sources of income? Oh, that's a good one. You talked about it before we went to the break. By the way, he has 5 tips, 5 strategies, 5 solutions to create wealth. And we have a QR code. Is that on the screen, folks? QR code's on the screen. Put your phone up to that. Go to the website, download the 5 key strategies. I'll call them solutions to creating wealth. Okay, it's free. It's free. All right, top question. How do I create multiple sources of income? And I'm going to add one to that, if I may, Dr. Watkins. Mm-hmm. How do I create multiple streams of income? And this one comes from Stephanie. Last name don't matter. Stephanie, thank you for your question. How do I create multiple streams of income? And I'm going to add to that, when I'm broke already.
Well, just know that I said earlier, broke can be fixed, right? So always start with what's in your heart. All right, let's start there, because the reason why that's so important, because when things get hard, if it's in your heart, you're not going to quit. If you're just doing it for money, when things get hard, you're going to quit, right? When people looking to quit their job because they don't like it anymore, so they get miserable, they get depressed, they get down. But if it's something that's tied to your heart, something that you're passionate about, for me, it was helping other people. And so what is the first thing that I did when I was broke? I didn't have any money. Well, I can talk, right? I can get educated. I can read books. I went out and I started talking. And I had probably 7 free, maybe 8 free talks. I talked everywhere. Anybody that would listen, talked at elementary school. I talked at the Columbus Knights of this order and this order. Went to a hospital. I talked to the elderly people, right?
You talked in church.
Right. And then eventually a church called me. They paid me $500.
Wow.
Man, that was good. You paid me to talk.
Wow.
So that was a stream of income. Then after that, I'm learning all this stuff. So what's the next thing that I'm going to naturally do from my heart? I'm going to write a little ebook. I wrote a little ebook on how to hear from God for your money, right? What does God say about money? And then somebody actually downloaded and bought it.
Wow.
So that was another stream of income. That was $12 that somebody actually downloaded and bought it. And then after that, somebody said, man, I need some advice. Well, I can't do it for free. I said, can you pay me $25? Someone actually paid me $25 to give them advice on what I learned.
Wow.
Based on what's on my heart.
That's good.
Right. And so those are just 3 streams of income that started with nothing but desire and passion and willingness to get out of bed. But I had to do something.
Yeah.
Had to look at my life differently. Right. So I had to stop calling myself, well, I'm just an orphan. I'm broke. I'm never going to be anything. I got to stop. I had to get out of my pity party. Yeah. And once I got out of myself and looked back and looked at myself, I've got some value.
You got some talents.
And some talents.
You got some skill.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback off some what you're saying? Could I do that?
Absolutely.
And you tell me if I'm getting it?
Okay.
I heard you say that you had to look at yourself objectively. What does that mean? You had to look at yourself fairly. Not with a scrutinizing eye in the sense of negativity.
Yeah.
Am I getting it right?
Yeah.
You had to look at yourself and say, well, self, I got some skill.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? If you look at yourself negative all the time, you feel bad about yourself all the time. If you look in the mirror and all you talk about is the negative stuff in you, it will cloud your vision and keep you from being objective and looking at, well, what do you know? I can swing a hammer pretty good. I can build something. Mm-hmm. I can paint something. I got a voice like whatever it is. All of us got skill.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. Maybe you dance. Maybe you cook. My daughter just brought me in some little dish that she cooked, and it was so good. It was so good. If she were broke, I would say to my daughter, you can make money off that. Why? Why? Because she's got a talent. Every one of us have got a talent, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah.
You got to find it, and then it's not exploiting anybody. It's called, you got a gift, you got a talent. If you're trying to get from where you are to where you want to be, if you're trying to expand multiple streams of income, could you turn one of those talents into money?
Yeah. Can I add something there? Okay, but the talent is good, but what is the purpose of the talent? It's to solve a problem in somebody else's life.
Ooh.
And so, if you think about how does dentists make money from solving teeth problems? How do psychologists make money by solving mental problems? How do preachers make money by solving spiritual problems? So I submit to you, if you didn't solve any problems today, you didn't make any money today. And then the types of problems you solve determine the type of money you make. So the reason why garbage men don't make a lot of money or more money than brain surgeons, because brain surgeons solve a very specific problem. So the more specific problem you solve, the more money you make. So for me, solving people's money problems was because I have my own money problems.
Yeah, it's good.
I know how that feels. I'm compassionate about it, right? You're compassionate about health, right? We've experienced it. We know the insecurities and inadequacies. Well, that's a key to you helping someone else and you getting paid for simply solving someone's problem.
Wow, that's good.
If you see, you're either going to be known for the problems that you create or the problems that you solve. I want to be known as a problem solver. So when Damon Davis or anybody, Stephanie, you're out there, you say, I've got a financial problem. Well, call that Robert Watkins, because I know he's going to say something to solve my problem. And guess what? I will never be broke another day in my life because I solve problems.
That's good.
As many problems I can find to solve, that's the more money I can make.
We have a friend online named Space. Space, great question here. What are the best practical ways to create long-term wealth? So that's either somebody who's trying to get into investing or somebody that is investing, but someone who's very mindful that there's a long-term play here.
Yeah.
It's not get rich quick overnight, right? That's kind of the general rule, isn't it, right? You might get really lucky or develop something that everybody wants. We might make money really fast, but most of us are not going to get that winning number in the lottery.
Well, 80% of lottery winners are broke within 5 years.
They didn't know how to manage
They didn't know how to manage it, or they didn't know how to invest it. They weren't doing the things that we're talking about doing. So the question was, how can I build long-term wealth? Well, first of all, let's define what wealth is. Wealth is not money. Wealth is your vision. Wealth is intangible. Wealth is a mindset. Wealth is a strategy. It's a business idea. Let's get that first, right? Truett Cathy, he didn't get rich off of just selling chicken sandwiches. He became wealthy because of his mindset of wanting to take care of his family and provide something of value to families.
Good.
So he's wanted to solve a problem, and he became so wealthy, he's closed on Sunday when everybody wants a Chick-fil-A sandwich, right? So, but it started with something simple. You know, it's always something, so that business idea, that strategy, that's where you start. That's the seed, that's the root to the fruit. Now let's finance that, right? Let's finance that. So for me, it was, conquer worldwide. Who am I conquering? All right, nobody. I can't even conquer myself, right? For some people, you can cook chicken better than the Colonel Sanders, right? So that recipe is your wealth, right? And so now what do? We take that recipe and we make it, and we take chicken down to the local church or to local homeless community. And somebody said, wow, this is good. Or do what one lady did, who was my client. She took fried chicken to the bank, and everybody in the bank loved it. She provided lunch, and they loved it. She had no credit, no money, no experience, never been an entrepreneur, but she had something of value, fried chicken, that everybody loved. And then somebody said, what else you got? And she bought something else the next week. And she did that for a month. And they gave her a $2,000 investment.
Wow.
To package her, which was enough for us to come in and create a business plan for her. And now she's doing really well. She has her own restaurant now in Carrollton, Georgia.
Wow. What a story.
And it started with that, which is something that was already in her life.
Long-term wealth, is that, because there's another question, I think it ties into it. Someone is asking about housing prices. Specifically, Katrina, thank you for the question. Since housing prices make owning a home out of reach for many people, what can we do to achieve this dream? What can we do to achieve owning a home? Let's connect that, if we can, that thread to, is that a long-term wealth strategy? And I got you on mindset. You're right. If your mindset's not thinking wealthy minded, you'll get it and lose it, right? And also, what is money really? It's just a tool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got it. That's a valuable principle you're leaving us with. What is your mindset about money? But if I have money, I'm looking to make an investment, and I'm trying to gain long-term wealth. Is housing something that I should be considering?
Well, you should always consider anything that's tied to real estate. The challenge is how we buy it. That's the challenge. Most people buy more car, more house than they should. Do you really need a 5-bedroom home? Do you really need a Mercedes Benz? But everything you should look at as an investment, which means it cannot be an emotional decision.
Say that again.
Right.
So
whatever you look at, you used the word objective earlier, but the problem is most people make emotional decisions. Just because the bank says you can have it doesn't mean you should have it. So it can't be emotional. So you have to pause and say, can I afford this? If I stop working right now, can I afford this? Because wealth is measured in time. If the answer is, I can't go, if I lose my job, I can't keep this house, then you really should not buy the house. Because now your purpose now is tied to a job, tied to a thing. So that's emotional. That's not a smart decision.
Yeah.
So I've got to step back and say, how much wealth do I have? And some people don't have no wealth.
Yeah.
Some people have only a week's worth of wealth. Some only have a month worth of wealth. Well, that's the only house you can afford.
Sure.
So I would say this: it's okay to rent in this economy. It's okay to be a renter. America is approaching to become a country of renters. It's okay. There's no crime in that until you can become wealthy to buy a home.
I want to underscore that word though you used. It's okay to rent in this economy.
In this economy.
Yeah, unpack
Right.
that, because that's the key statement you don't want to miss.
Right.
It's okay to rent in this economy.
I have a home in Douglasville, Georgia. I bought it in 2017. I'll just say I paid $250,000 for it. Didn't do anything to the house. Just kept it, came there every now and then. And in May of last year, 2021, I bought it for $250,000, sold it for $469,000. Didn't do anything to the house. I didn't put new shingles on there, new roof, nothing. Just went by there when I was in town. I would stay there. I didn't do anything to the house. What happened? The market. I had to understand. I bought it at a good time and I sold it at a good time. So I had to educate myself on buying this house.
That's good.
Now, what was I doing? I was renting. I had other places to stay. I mean, I owned some other things, but that particular property was not an emotional decision.
You bought it as an investment.
I bought it as an investment, and you can do that with your personal home too. So just because you're living in it, it's still an investment, but you have to do it with wisdom and know the season and the timing and the economic cycle that we're in.
Well,
so right now it's okay to be a renter because remember I said, everything in America is about to come on sale. That same house that was sold for $469 last May is on the market. I saw the other day for $300,000.
Wow. Listen, y'all, I was with an associate of mine. Is this what you're talking about? And she used the term delayed gratification. And my mind, ooh, I remember that. Let's give Scott Peck, MD, some credit. I know he ain't watching, but Scott Peck wrote the book, Road Less Traveled. And in that book, we're not promoting the book, but it's a good read. Never Chase a Paycheck Again is a good read.
That's a good read.
But the premise of the book is delay your gratification. You're right. Right now, if you have the means to buy a house, right now, if you have the means to buy a car, just because you have the means doesn't mean it's the right time. And, oh, I want that car. And, oh, I need to get in a house because I'm tired of renting. But in truth, we have to look at what's going on in the economy.
Yeah.
The money is made in the buying, not the selling. Did you get that? The money is made in the buying, not the selling. So you can buy a house now, and if you buy when the market's at its peak, and it's at its peak, okay, great, you're not renting anymore. But watch me now. You buy at the peak, and the market drops, that 10% you put down is gone. Do you get that? That 20% you put down is gone. Sure, we bought right and the interest rate's right. No, it's not. Not now, it's not. It was. Right now, the interest rate's up. It's continuing to climb. Houses pricing is at its peak. You buy now, yeah, you're not renting. But every dime you put into it is gone. And we don't know how long it's going to take to reset.
Right.
Cars, they're up 30, 40%. Supply and demand. Oh, I need wheels. I hate what I'm driving. Delay your gratification. Oh, I don't want to buy some junky car that's got too many miles. Delay your gratification. The answer to long-term wealth, I hear you saying, Robert, is making smart decisions with where you put your money and when.
And when.
Keep going.
Jeff Bezos, who created Amazon, said this just the other day. He said, stop spending. Jeff Bezos is the owner of the largest online retailer on the planet, and he's saying, stop sending me money.
Wow.
Because at that level, they felt the recession a long time ago. They've lost billions already. So by the time he hits Main Street, it's really severe. So he's saying, okay, people are buying red bottom shoes and they're buying new cars and they're going on fancy trips right now. All of this is not going to be available in another year or so. And so he really was a financial prophet, and not just him, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are all saying the same things. Stop spending because they understand that the year of plenty is about to become the year of famine.
Did you guys hear that? We're talking about, you want real financial experts? You certainly are one. But you got billionaires, multi-billionaires saying,
Multi-billionaires.
tighten the belt, y'all. Now, that's not a doomsday statement. That's not, again, let's just slow down. That's not worry, get scared and all this kind of stuff. It's not what we're talking about here. It's just a practical step to make sure you got some money when you're going to need it the most. Delay your gratification. Tighten the belt. Maybe go out to dinner one less time a week, all right? Maybe look at the cupboard and not buy stuff you already got, or figure out a way to polish those shoes instead of buying some new ones, right? I tell people the best way to save money is to get with Zoe and lose some weight, because you got all those fat clothes in the closet that you're going to now be able to fit into.
I need to sign up.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another question. Darwin asks, what is the most reliable way? Darwin, thank you for the question. Darwin asks, what is the most reliable way to pay off debt? That is a good one.
Yeah, good question.
How do I build a plan to pay off debt? Are there steps for that?
Yeah, there is. Here's what a lot of people do, and I know I did early on in my life, where you have, $8,000 in credit card debt, and you may have $5,000 in a savings account. Well, your credit card debt is at 15, 16, 7% interest rate, and you're only getting 1% interest on the money you have in the bank. Take the money you have out of the bank and start paying off your credit cards, if you have it. If you don't have any money, then you've got to really begin to, as you say, tighten your belt. You've got to figure out a way to save. Start by calling your credit card company, and sometimes they will give you a reprieve and say, okay, we're not going to charge you interest for a couple of months. They're starting to do this because they also see what's coming in a year of famine. They know people are not going to have money to pay off the credit card's debt. So there's a lot of grace that these credit card companies are giving. And if you call them and tell them, I have a plan to pay you off, but I need the next 2 months so it doesn't hit my credit report, will you do that for me?
Wow.
And they're doing it.
Can I piggyback on that? Because you're right. I have a relationship of mine that was asking about credit card debt and how to get the card down. No, this is just happened. I'm not making this up. And I said, when's the last time you asked the bank about your interest rate? They never did.
Right.
We don't know these things.
Right.
Okay. You get approved for a card, you shout hallelujah, and then they give you the rate. Okay. And then we just go on about life. They're not going to lower it for you. They're going to increase that limit so you keep spending. But you build up this great credit line, right? And you got good credit history. Let's assume that that's the case. Or let's just assume we're paying attention to the sign of the times. They're dropping rates for everybody. I said, pick up the phone, ask for them to lower your rate. I'm not making this up. They did. They lowered the rate by 3 points. Now, you may say that's not a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You got a $10,000 credit balance. 3 points is a lot of money. Now, don't go spend the 3 points you just saved, is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. You make the call, you get and this not going to hurt your credit. You ask to lower your rate. Worst they can do is say no. Call again in 30 days. Worst they can do is say no. Call again in 30 days. Trust me, if you're higher than you should be, and we haven't looked at it in a while, they'll probably bring that rate down. But and I said this, when they bring your rate down, take that 3% that they were keeping and add it to the amount you're paying already on the credit card. Redirect the money you're spending foolishly and start accelerating the pay down. What's another idea? And you touched on it, and I think that's so good. People have money in the bank, and we love our cash. Oh, I saved up $2,000.
We love seeing it.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Oh, I saved up $2,000. Ooh, cash. And yet you haven't looked at what you're paying in interest. Right? That's what you said. Drill on that, because that's true.
Right. Well, I have 2 underwriters that work for me. Remember, I own a finance company. And so the way underwriting, they charge whatever they think you can afford, just like a car salesman. Whatever they think you can afford, they're going to show you that car. If they can get away with 15% and they look in your bank account and say, oh, they can afford another 15, that's what they're going to charge. There's no magic number. When it comes to CD rates, there is a federal guideline that, the feds kind of control that. But when it comes to interest rates on retail goods, banks can do whatever they want to do, up to, I think, 26 or 27%, which is ridiculous. But there's always room for negotiation, because what they don't want you to do is forget about them. So you say, well, I don't care about my credit report. So if my credit score goes from 700 down to 500, I don't care. They don't want to hear that. They want to work with you. That's why they keep calling you.
Yeah.
Right. So negotiate with them. Use that, leverage that time to say, listen, I'm at 17%. I can afford 10%.
Yeah.
I guarantee you'll get a letter in the mail and it'll probably be somewhere in the middle. You just save that money. Now call somebody like me and let's figure out how to invest that, now this new credit income that you have, and let's grow that $500 or $200, whatever that is, into $500, and let's just grow that and go do something wonderful with it. But let's not spend it. Let's invest it.
Yeah.
Let's grow it so your children can be happy.
Some people feel that credit cards are bad. They feel that credit cards are an abomination. Pay cash. Don't charge. I don't think that's the case. Management of other people's money, the bank's money, is the solution. Am I right?
You're exactly right. People are just poor managers. Bad credit, when you have a job, you're just a bad manager. It just is no excuse. And even if you don't have the money to pay the bill on time, there's no excuse to pick the phone up and say what we just talked about. So it's rarely an income issue for my clients. It's always a management issue. Mm-hmm. It's not an income issue. It's normally a management issue. And their priorities are wrong. If you drive up to my office and I see you in a car that's 3 years old, that you have a car payment, and the car is worth more than what you're making, you have your priorities out of whack. You're not going to succeed. That's why 93% of all college students are considered to be financial failures, because they didn't get the financial literacy class. Oh, they don't teach it in college.
Right.
And so we spend most of our adult life this way, but most people just have their financial priorities backwards. That's why they're in a hole, because of that. And there's no Superman coming in this new economy.
Wow.
Barack Obama bailed out the banks. Donald Trump gave us some reprieve through the PPP program. We don't know what this government is going to do, but we know one thing: we cannot depend upon the government for anything.
True.
So we have to do what we're talking about here, and being a good manager over the little you have, and you can grow that to much.
That's good. Spencer, don't go away. We're going to get to your question. Meredith, what are some good ways to manage personal debt effectively? It's a tie into the earlier question, but it's different. What are some good ways to manage personal debt effectively? What do you say to that?
I know some people don't like consolidation, but I like consolidation. Okay. I like consolidation if it helps me be a better manager, right? I have a spreadsheet of all of my credit cards and car payments, and I can see it. I have it on one page, right? That helps me manage. I can see the dates. But here's the other key to being a good manager is that, okay, what dates are the credit cards? When does MasterCard actually report to TransUnion? I want to know what that date is, right? Because I can make sure that balance is less than 30%, so my credit score can stay reasonably high. So my credit utilization at the time of reporting, if it's above 35%, your credit score is going to go down, right? That's just management 101. But I would say put everything on one piece of paper, the date and the amount that is owed, and help that be a manager. If you're married, sit down with your spouse, go through that, be transparent, and don't be afraid to check your credit report. Most people don't go to the doctors because they don't want to know what the doctor's going to say. Well, you know that.
It's true.
Financially speaking, a lot of people don't want to go. And you get a free credit report at least once a year.
Yeah.
And you can pay $14.95 to get it every month. I get a monitoring. So when something comes on my credit report, I know it.
Yeah.
I deal with it head on because my family is at stake.
That's so true. I want to make sure that's clear. There are people that don't want to know the score.
Right. You
Because
don't want to know.
you
That's
blew-
like saying I don't
you-
want to know
yeah.
what my temperature is today, and I'm feeling a little sick.
We're that way, we're that way, but you blew it somewhere and your credit's so low that you can't get any further than low and you just ignore it. But you can't. If it's so low, good news is we can go up from there.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So I want to speak to those people. Find out what your score is. Face it head on. And then let's build a plan to improve it. How do you improve it? That's not one of the questions, but really, a lot of people don't understand credit. They don't understand how the system works, right? What's FICO? What's the difference between Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, right? Don't get into all of that. You can go online and learn that. But a lot of people just don't know the importance of managing that score. Step one, find out what your score is.
Yeah.
Let's start there. Don't be afraid to stare it in the face. Step two, build a plan to increase it. What is the fastest way we can do that?
Right.
I need to get my score up.
Right.
What's the first thing I can do?
Well, the first thing is pay your bills on time. That's 20% of your score. The 30% of that is your credit utilization. So you want to keep where that just means that if I have a credit card of $1,000 on it, they're going to ding me if I get above 30%. So I have $1,000 credit. If I go over $300, now I'm at $350, so now I'm at 35% utilization. It's going to ding my credit score because it looks like I'm using too much of my credit. So you want to keep that around that 30% or low. That will help keep your credit score going high.
Wow.
So pay your bills on time, pay attention to credit utilization, and then just overall debt, all right? And then your credit history.
Got it.
So if you had a repo for your car, if you had a house, that's going to be on there. That can hold you down a little bit. But here's the good news in all of this. Congress last year created a law under the Dodd-Frank Act that says now if you filed bankruptcy or had a foreclosure, that can no longer affect your credit score. So you can have a 700 credit score with a bankruptcy now.
Wow.
Okay.
That's good.
That just happened just last year.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that because you're not checking your credit report.
I didn't know that.
Right.
Wow.
So I see it all the time because we're financing people. And the first thing they say, well, I had a bankruptcy, 4 years ago. We say, well, what's your score? We look at it. It's 650. We say, no problem. We got $200,000 for you.
Wow. Couple more questions. That is so good, by the way.
Yeah.
Spencer, do you think there is a chance the USD, US dollar, could lose global reserve currency status? If so, what do you think the new reserve currency would be? Spencer's smart.
Yeah, he's smart.
That's a very smart question. I'm going to repeat that question just so I understand it. Do you think there's a chance the USD could lose global reserve currency status? If so, what do you think the new reserve currency would be?
Well,
Big question.
Yeah, great question. Great, intelligent question. Here's the way I would answer it. Remember I said earlier that the most valuable assets on the planet are things that God made. The reason why the dollar can't go away because of the gold standard that President Nixon instituted. So America is rich in gold. We have that in Fort Knox. That is what our currency is based on. Just because China and Russia got together and said the dollar is no good, it's trash, that's their opinion. Its valuation is just an opinion, but it's still the gold standard for us. So when you travel abroad, that's when it's going to affect you. But here in the United States, the dollar is still king. And I can't see the changing the reserve at all. That would collapse our economy. Our dollar is our financial king in this country.
We're going to joust a little bit, just a little. What I mean by that, I'm going to get a little controversial here. That way, y'all know, he's not just here to say yes to everything or be yes to him. All right. So we have some fun.
I'm glad you said I'm not a yes man. That's
We are
good.
not, you are not that, and neither am I. So we're going to joust. And do you believe there's gold really? I mean, in Fort Knox, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you said that and I've almost coughed. I mean, some people believe ain't no gold there.
Well,
Our money hasn't been backed by gold. Now, I don't know the answer, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but man, the sides are split on that one. What do you think?
Well, I was in the military. I've never seen the gold at Fort Knox, but I was in the military. I know guys who served in the Army who was at Fort Knox, and they've seen it, right? This goes back probably 1980 something, but you know, guys, if there's no gold there, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in trouble. I mean, you know, Wall Street props us up. It's just trading paper. It's all paper, right? But it has to be backed by something.
Sure.
It can't just be insurance policy.
Sure.
It has to be something physical. And if that physical gold is not there, then we're going to return back to, man, before Christ.
It's somewhere.
It's got to be. I'm hoping it's here. I hope it's in America. I hope it's not in China. Then we're really in trouble. Our whole military, everything is based on that.
We need to do a show and just like show up at Fort Knox, you know, with some cameras.
Let us in.
Say, let me in. I want to see my gold. I think it was in the World War II. I'm gonna mess history up. One of Eisenhower, I can't remember, Truman, one of the presidents. Don't judge me, y'all. I'll get my facts down. We'll fact check me later. But I know this to be the case. There was a time when they actually outlawed in the United States your ability to have a certain amount of gold. Our currency had to be backed. We're pretty smart as a nation, okay? No matter what's going on, this might be encouraging for somebody. No matter what's going on, there's not a bunch of dummies in this country, okay? We got a lot of smart people. I still believe this is one of the most powerful countries in the world.
Absolutely.
It's not a braggadocious statement. It's not a capitalist statement. It's just to say, man, I'm glad we're here where we have these freedoms. And it's a powerful country and remains a powerful country.
Yeah.
But all these smart folk who don't want to find themselves in a really bad spot, I am certain that we're making sure we got something to back that dollar. And once upon a time during war, we had to do just that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had to take a drastic measure, man. We had to say, you can't own more than this much gold. And they started to repossess that gold. Mm-hmm. They said, we're going to take the gold back. You're allowed to have a little. And they outlawed your ability to have more gold than you needed to have because they needed it to back the currency. Now, some people say, well, that's just tyranny at its best. No, it's called the country pulled together. Stay with me. We pulled together. We said, we got to keep this great thing we built. What else is going to happen if we don't? And you want to talk about a time of unity, prosperity in this country? It's when the country pulled together to solve a great big problem. And I talk to people all the time who just nay and say the country's going down the toilet and, you know, dollars aren't going to be worth nothing. And after 10 minutes, I'm like, I guess everybody's just dumb here, that we don't care about this country and we're just going to let it all go. I don't believe that to be the case. Do you?
No, I don't. I'm not a doomsday guy. I'm full of hope. I'm hopeful because I understand the cycles. I understand. We've seen this movie before and we got out of it.
Which means you're saying we've been here before.
We've been here before.
And we got out of it.
We got out of it. And we're in our 50s now. So we've seen
Who
things.
is?
I'm in my 50s. I know you're in your 30s, man.
I turned 35 and holding.
So, you know, these are cycles, but our faith is higher than just in the government. But we need the government to make smart decisions economically. And if you look at the past presidents, what they've done, and I go back to what Nixon did, he created the gold standard. Yeah. Right. And even before that, remember bonds. Remember your parents probably had bonds. We had bonds. And even though we didn't have a lot of money, but we had bonds, right? $25 bond and we can cash it in. All that was based on the government. That was based on the gold. Right. That's what it was. So it has to be based on something. And so that's where we are now. So we're going to get through this. We're going to be better off as a country. You're going to be better off in your family if you apply some of these measures to ensure that you understand the cycles. If you're going through a tough time now, it's going to get better. Awesome. Jobs are getting ready to go away. We had great jobs, right? Matter of fact, we have so many jobs that people were not applying. They said, I'm going to stay home after the pandemic. I'm not going back to the restaurant, right? And we had all these restaurants that could not hire people. Well, those restaurant jobs are getting ready to become valuable.
Very much so.
It's just a cycle.
We're going to go rapid fire. We are way past time. Thank you for staying with us, for hanging with us. I want you to share with folks to be here at this time every day. We want to answer your questions, and I'm doing my best to make sure I honor that now. Rapid fire. I'll leave my commentary out. You answer quick. We'll get to the last few and we'll be out. Okay. Avery asks, as a retail investor in 2023, should I be picking tech stocks, government bonds, or something else right now? Is there a good split I should aim for? Great, smart question.
Well, great question. Retail is going to take a big hit because people are going to stop spending and they're going to have money. Do your valuation on tech. Tech is going to be big. Most people never heard of Zoom before the pandemic. Uber Eats, we didn't know about that, the app. So a lot of those apps, DoorDash, all those are apps. We didn't know about those apps until the pandemic came. So there's going to be the next best thing, right? That's already cooking. Is some guy in his garage right now. There's a Steve Jobs in there somewhere that's just waiting for the perfect economic storm to happen. Stay online, keep doing your research, and invest.
Awesome.
Always invest.
Darwin, how much of my income, this is a real good question. How much of my income should go towards housing? I promised I'd keep my commentary aside, but I just want to speak on that for a second. You don't buy too much car that you don't need. Not right now. You don't buy too much house that you don't need. Not right now. Okay. Not right now. Even if you got it. There's so many people that are cash poor, car rich.
Yeah.
There are so many people that are house rich, cash poor.
That's right.
Okay. You want to have the means by which to put your money on liquid. If things do get tough, you don't want it all trapped up and wrapped up somewhere where the market drops and you can't put your hands on liquid. You should have a certain amount in this place, a certain amount in this place, and you should have a certain amount in gold, silver, what God made, and you should have cash. Truly. Have some cash, have some gold. You don't want it all to go to one or two directions, but there is a percentage. How much of my income should go towards housing? My apologies for that commentary, but I felt that somebody needed to hear that. How much of my housing?
People don't like when I say this, no more than 40%, but ideally 30%.
Break it down. How do I do
If
the
you make
math on that?
if you make $1,000 for the month, you should not be spending more than $400 in housing.
Okay, so simple math. Take your salary, divide that by 12 months. This isn't gross, by the way. They're not gross. Net, what are you bringing home? What's actually hitting your bank account? How much of that?
40%. No more than 40%.
No more than 40%
Ideally,
your take-home money
right.
should be in a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
But I apply that to rent as well?
Yeah, I can play it to rent as well.
Right,
Absolutely.
so it shouldn't be going to housing, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that should be your first payment, right?
Yeah.
Don't pay your car first.
Yeah.
Like I did in college.
Yeah.
And lost my apartment.
Yeah.
Okay. So your housing should be first.
Yeah. By the way, just for folks, charitable giving, tithes, we're not that.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah.
That's assumed, right?
Yeah.
That's assumed. We got to make sure we give back. But first, housing, right? No more than 40%. Can I go there just real quick? Is there a percentage for how much should my car payment be?
A car payment should be no more than 20%.
It should
And that's high.
Okay. Should there be like credit cards? Like how much should I have in credit cards? People say don't use credit cards. No, use it, but pay it off.
Yeah.
Don't use it and then pay it off 20 years.
Well, there's
right?
a strategy of
You
using
pay
credit
for
cards.
the thing you bought 20 times over. You get me?
Right.
But so they're not bad. Just
If you don't have,
use
here's
it,
the
not
thing.
cash, but pay it off. Go
If you
ahead.
don't have the money in the bank, then don't use your credit card.
Yeah. Say that again.
If you don't have the money in the bank, then don't use your credit card.
Say that again.
If you don't have the money in the bank, then don't use the credit card.
I'm sorry. One more time. You got to get this.
If
People
you
are
don't-
getting credit cards and living off it, or getting credit cards and then investing in something. Dangerous.
Dangerous, very dangerous.
Say it again.
If you don't have the money in the bank, then don't use the credit card. Keep
Man,
it at
It's so
home.
true.
Keep it out because you're going to be in trouble. It's going to get you in trouble. So you may just have going to entertainment fast. You may just I'm not going to smoke. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to have a drink. I mean, that is life-changing for a lot of people.
Delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification.
Right? But add up the pennies. I mean, what you're really talking about is truly, I mean, a lot of people, they're not looking at what they're spending on eating out and fast food because, hey, it's $2 here and $3 there. A cup of coffee at the coffee place. I'm gonna leave the name out so we don't get sued. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So we get that latte, right? You add it up. The pennies add up.
They add up.
The pennies turn into dimes, nickels. The nickels turn into dimes. The dimes turn into dollars. The dollars turn into serious debt. And the debt doesn't go away unless you liquidate it. On my financial plan, you said it earlier. I liked it so much. I remember the day Natalie and I sat down and we looked at this debt picture. And I was like, my Lord, just add it up before you knew it. I had a couple credit cards maxed out. I was in a car that really I could barely afford. I was in a house that was a stretch. And it really got discouraging for us. And being transparent, my charitable giving stopped. I'll never forget my granddad said, you can't do that, man. And you can't outgive God. He'll give it back. But, got to get that house in order. We did that. But I still said, I can't afford all this. And then we just looked at our total picture of where our money was going. Yeah. And truly, we added up eating out. We added up wasting what we were buying, not planning and cooking it. And truly. Mm-hmm. And we added up, all the little foxes that are spoiling the vine. Mm-hmm. And we found ourselves with $200 that we could squeeze out. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, it was going anyway. And we got on a mission to just delay our gratification, start eating at home more, going out less, make our coffee rather than buy it. Now, we had to do some things. We had to get up a little earlier and prepare our day. We had to kind of get budgeted, not just with our money, but our time. And you know what's crazy? We knew things that we enjoyed. You find other things to do that are free, extremely low cost. And we took that $200 and we started whacking. Man, we hit the first credit card and we whacked that thing down, and then got rid of that interest, got rid of that credit card. And we didn't go back spending. No, hold the line, hold. Now suddenly, it wasn't $200 that was free. It was $250 that was free. And I took that $250 and we applied that to the next card. And I'm telling you, before you know it, it's a year from now. And my goodness, now you've earned the right to do something smart with that money. And what did we do? I'm telling you just how it went down. Now we have 5 kids, and at that time they were all at home. It was early days, man. I had to keep a smile on my face.
Well, that's a lot.
As a joke in November. You know what I did? We said, you said it in the first part of the show. I said, I'm going to get that money working for me. Yeah. I never thought about saving or investing. Never had any money to save. Right. I didn't have any money to invest. Right. So I went to my employer at the time and I said, I want you to take percentage of my money out of my check before I see that money. What do you mean? Simple. I said, I want to deduct this certain amount. And what did I have it go? You can have 2 bank accounts, and you literally can take your direct deposit and you can have one part of it, test me and see if I'm telling you the truth. You can have one part of your money go to this bank account, and you can have the other part go to this bank account. And what did we do? We used one bank account to pay our bills, and I used the other account as my investment account. And by the way, in those days, I didn't have this app that we got today where you can literally, the app, while you're sleeping at night, will pull down a little bit of money and put it somewhere. You got it? You don't even have to. Those days, I had to write a check. So that money hit that account, I'd write a check, and I'd invest it. Start socking that away. It wasn't, you know what's crazy? In that account where we paid our bills, I didn't miss the extra. We just learned to look at life differently and manage differently because we changed our mindset. Yeah. Everything's a mindset, isn't it?
Everything's a mindset. And what you did, you automated your wealth. Right. That's what I do. I don't know what my light bill is. I don't know what my credit card. I mean, everything's automated. Right. And that's the only, because me left up to my devices, you put some cash in front of me, I'm going to spend it.
So true.
Right. So we're
going to find a way.
I'm going to find a way. And there's other people in my life. We'll find a way, but somehow that money's not going to be there in another 2 months. So automating is going to lead to a higher credit score. What I mean by automate, like you just said, my Discover card, I got, $200 a month going to Discover card, right? It's just knocking it down. I'm going to forget, right? That's part of bad management. You just forgot.
Yeah.
You're not a bad person. You have the money. That's what it was for me. When I had bad credit, it was that, man, I got money in the bank and I got bad credit.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? So I had to find a way to automate that.
That's good.
And now I have another annuity. I'm not going to say the name, but if you call me, I'll talk to you about it. Where, I started off with the $500. There's $17,000 in there right now, right?
Yeah.
Just reinvesting, automating. So it may be $200 or $300 a week that is making. It's just automated. It's not hitting my account. It's staying right where it is. It's in cryptocurrency. And I can take the money out whenever I want to. That's my money working for me.
It's good.
To pay down the debt and to build my wealth.
It's great.
And I can be on this set with you, man, and the most handsome guy in television, and chop it up and talk about God and talk about money and all this good stuff, right?
I got a new wig, man.
It looks great, man. I love to hear that.
Money I saved up.
You look good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been good.
And thank you. We want to encourage you to tune in again tomorrow at the same time. Doesn't matter how many people we have in that live chat. Some of you look at that number and you might get discouraged by that. I'm not. Despise not the day of small things.
Yeah.
We're going to grow this into a community where we are coming here and getting to it and getting raw and direct to get the answers that you need. And my goal is to bring experts here that can answer the questions you need answered. Okay. So help us build this thing. What do I mean by that? Share with folks what we're doing here. Please call somebody, send them the link. April 17th, we go live. Everything leading up until April 17th has been rehearsal. On April the 17th, we will be in 98 million homes on one network in the United States. We're rebroadcasting on another network at a different time. We reach another 40 million homes. Those are non-duplicated. That means that we will be reaching, it's astounding, over 130 million homes. That means that over 130 million homes can turn on the television or TV by phone and see the program.
Yeah.
But the digital world is so much larger than that. So we're using television to reach people who don't tune in by way of digital, to drive people to what we're calling this after show. The first part is tough to answer questions. We got to be dignified, stick to the script, follow the time, get in and get out. And our sponsor is saying, run our spots, which we appreciate. There's an economic machine there that's got to be respected. But then when we go to this after show, loosen our tie, let my hair down. So I got a great wig. And I don't really have a wig. And what we do is we answer those questions. But that after show is only as good as you participate. So this isn't a plea. This is me saying we really want to get to you something that can impact your life in a tangible way, a real way, and give you the solutions to win at it. Now, we've been griping and complaining and frustrated because life has done a number on us. You only need one idea, one strategy, one solution you can find here to shape your thinking in such a way that it can lead you to the extraordinary life.
Yeah.
And that's what Zoe means. Life above life, the God kind of life, extraordinary life. And aren't you ready to start living it?
Yeah.
Last but not least, and we're out, April the 21st. Mark your calendar. Tell everybody you know. Meet me and my experts live at World Changers Church. We will be in South Atlanta. Dr. Creflo Dollar, he's making way for us, giving us platform to discuss how to unpack, solve issues in mind, body, spirit. We had an amazing time last year. We had thousands of people online and in the auditorium. We expect a bigger turnout this year. You come, it is free. You be there and let us do for you there what we did on today's show. Thank you so much. I'm Damon Davis. Dr. Robert Watkins, you got to come back.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
going to have you back.
I'm back.
Have you often back?
Yes, often.
All right. And we hope you're back. See you tomorrow, same time. Thank you so much.